strike. The United Auto Workers Union is they're striking. What are they striking for? Higher pay. In a nutshell, back in 2008, there was some negotiations between the old union leadership and the big three. What did they have to say? Well, basically, they said, we are not going to adjust your cost of living anymore because these are hard financial times for us, said the big three. They said, we are suffering. We, kings of capital, are suffering, and we need you, the laborer, to go easy on us. Fair enough. Laborers, being the sort of folks they are, which is to say, you and me, are human beings. And so they said, okay, unprecedented, yada, yada. We'll be decent. We'll trust you. And then, what happened? Did they return that cost of living adjustment, aka COLA? No, they did not. The big three continued to be greedy pigs, and they held on to that. And they never returned it. And now we have new union leadership who is demanding that the cost of living adjustment, which ensures that the compensation you are given to make a fine American vehicle allows you to live a fine American lifestyle. Capitalists, the kings of capital, I should say, they don't want that. They don't want you to live a fine American lifestyle. They are uncomfortable living a fine American lifestyle. They want to live like English kings in the 1500s. And they're arguing real hard to be treated like French kings in the 1700s. But in the meantime, we have a more civilized way of dealing with them, and that is through the power of withholding our labor. Here's the AP. Which are the best? That's not it at all. Here's the AP. Bada boom. Workers strike at all three Detroit automakers, a new tactic to squeeze companies for better pay. You're goddamn right. Squeeze them. Nearly 1 in 10 of America's unionized auto workers went on strike Friday to pressure Detroit's three automakers into raising wages in an era of big profits as the industry begins a costly transition from gas guzzlers to electric vehicles. By striking simultaneously at General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler owner Stellantis, for the first time in its history, the United Auto Workers Union is trying to inflict a new kind of pain on the companies and claw back some pay and benefits workers, good God, I don't care. There we go. Workers gave up in recent decades. You're goddamn right. I like the aggressive tone here. I think we should keep that. I think we should not for a moment go easy on these punks. But let's be frank here. The ruthlessness is called for. It was practically asked for. And the thing these automakers will whine about suffering, it's loss of pay, it's loss of money. Boo freaking who? How long have the workers gone without their fair pay? Since 2008 is the answer. Not only should the workers get what they are asking for, but anybody who worked for these automakers in that time should get the pay that is owed to them, or their surviving relatives should. They should get the cost of living adjustment that was taken from them to get through harsh times. We made it through those harsh times, and it was never returned. That should be returned to them. But that's not even what they're striking about. What they're striking about now is the return to the fair conditions. So at a minimum, that should be given. There should be no negotiation to be had here. The auto workers can either the auto manufacturers can either agree to pay their employees, or they can go out of business and somebody else can make the cars. Somebody who's willing to pay. It's that simple. The strikes are limited for now to the 3 assembly plants: a GM factory in Wentzville, Missouri, a Ford plant in Wayne, Michigan, near Detroit, hello, and a Jeep plant run by Stellantis in Toledo, Ohio. The workers received support from President Joe Biden, way to go, Dark Brandon, who dispatched aides to Detroit to help resolve the impasse, and said the big 3 automakers should share their record profits. You're goddamn right. Love to see it, but that's not all. Leftist Mafia actually broke the news last night, even before David Feldman, for God's sake.
In high regard when you consider all these things. And the strike is on, as someone, as Mobile Newman just pointed out. It is midnight. No, the negotiations have not struck in a deal. And here we go. Here we are.
For news purposes, I want to point out that the facilities that are supposed to be going on strike are General Motors' mid-size truck and full-size van plant in Wentzville, Missouri. Remember, Americans love larger vehicles, so this is going to hit right where the profits hurt. Car prices have been one of the leading charges of inflation because of COVID making everything supply and demand kind of wonky, but also our cars are now computers now, so they require chips. And so cars are in demand and dealerships are getting away with charging overpriced, like way more than they should, for regular ass cars. And so this is going to hurt them as well. I'll also say Ford's Ranger and midsize. So the GM plant is in Wentzville, Missouri. Ford's Ranger midsize pickup truck and Bronco SUV plant in Wayne, Michigan. Bronco's the hottest thing Ford has got right now. Like I've got their hot electric car, but like the Bronco is the thing that everyone wants right now. So that is going to be a big blow too. And then Stellantis, which is the European conglomerate that includes the remnants of Jeep, Chrysler, and Fiat, and those other companies. They have a plant in Toledo, Ohio. I think, produce their 4xe hybrid trucks there that are doing really well, and they're selling a lot of as well. Those are all going to be stopped apparently as of tonight because there's no deal. This is huge. This should show how much labor power has. I haven't corroborated the numbers from the earlier super chat where it said like Bloomberg says that there could be billions of dollars lost from like a week of this strike. I say, fuck them. Let them go. Like, give these workers everything and then some what they want, because at the end of the day, they're asking for stuff they gave away in concessions like 10, 15 years ago. They're just asking to be met where they should be right now. And I say they deserve more. So let's go. Solidarity to them, even as I drive my Mexican ass EV.
Hell yeah. No, this is gonna be big. This is a big deal, especially right now, when you got people like Tim Gurner out there talking about how employees need to know their place and we need to take power away from them because they've got the power right now. This is going to fly in the face of what people like Tim Gurner want.
Oh, if we have another like Reagan situation where, I mentioned Tim Gurner, but I also thinking about the Frontier CEO. If we have another Reagan situation where our already hanging by a thread pilot system, I have a co-host on PowerPort, Sean, who is training to be a commercial pilot, so he talks about all the inside stuff about this. If they go on a strike, along with the air traffic controllers and the flight attendants, and some flight attendants are going on strike for, I believe, American Airlines might be coming up soon. Yo, this country grinds to a halt, which is gonna suck for some of my business travel. But like, again, solidarity for fucking ever. Let get these workers what they need and then some.
Could not put it better myself. That fella talking at the end there, if you're not familiar, is called Dan from the Internet. That's Dan from the Internet. And regular leftist mafioso, and a fantastic voice. Hey, what can you do about it? Good news. That's the point of a union. They take care of most of this stuff. However, because the union, United Auto Workers, represents so many people, let's have a quick gander at some of the resources that are available to you if you are a striking union member. And if you are not, but you know somebody who is, or you think you might possibly come across somebody who is, or who needs to hear this, here are some of the benefits to help you get through a strike. They're available right now. FAQ on strikes and UAW strike assistance. We know what a strike is. We're popping down. How much is UAW strike assistance and how often is it paid? Weekly strike assistance is $500 per week, $100 per day, Monday through Friday. Oh boy. Strike assistance pay is available after the 8th day of the strike. So next week, Friday. A bonus check is paid the week prior to the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. For each day's pay from the employer missed due to the strike, Monday through Friday, an eligible member shall receive 1 day's strike assistance at the prorated daily amount. What medical benefits are covered? The UAW Strike and Defense Fund covers certain benefits such as medical and prescription drugs. Benefits not covered include dental, vision, hearing, and sick and accident. I don't know. To me, I would like more covered, but okay. Who is eligible for strike benefits? To be eligible for strike pay and benefits, members must be in good standing, as in they've paid their dues, on active payroll at the start of the strike, and members must participate in the strike. Picket assignments, strike committee, etc. Look, the details are there if you want some. But, what is important? There are benefits available to you. This is why you have a union, to build a war chest for moments like this, so that you don't have to think, I cannot defy my employer because they'll withhold my ability to survive. They have me, my employer, so poor, so exhausted, that at any moment, I could need to go to the hospital. Just from my exhaustion, just from the things that have been plaguing me that I've been worrying about but haven't been able to afford to get looked at. I have bills that are due. I have no credit to ask for mercy on those bills. I have children. They require immediate funds for all sorts of living. How do I survive? How does my family survive? A union is how. That is how you play the capitalist game with capitalist pigs. That's how. We band together. People versus dollars. That's how we do it. People versus the people that would hoard our dollars, because we've decided in this capitalist system that everything will be measured in dollars. Then let us just look at that. The bosses at the big three have taken too much of the people's work, too much of the compensation paid for that work, and held on to it, the greedy pigs. So now the UAW is taking it back. If you have somebody, so first of all, let's be clear, no matter where you work, strongly consider putting together a union so that you have the ability to withhold your labor and you don't have to suffer worse than the person that you are making suffer from the lack of your labor. Thing number 2, if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who works for the one of the big three and could be affected by this strike, make sure they are aware that there is a fund in place for just such an occasion. And if they would like to wet their beak, if they would like, instead of an impromptu vacation, to actually get pay to survive, then go join the picket line. You clock in to say this isn't a good place to work right now, just like you would clock in if it were a good place to work. There is a separate resource or rather, I shouldn't say separate. There's an additional resource for Michiganders because Michigan has its own, basically, generalized strike fund, and I encourage you, if you don't have one in your state, to do the same. But I bet you do. I bet you do. I just happen to know where Michigan's is. To be continued on that, the concept of general strikes. But as far as the UAW goes, go get them, boys and gals. Go get them, because you're raising the bar for all of us.